What's good, everybody? So Deandre Ayton officially signed to the Lakers yesterday. I seen a lot of Laker fans and LeBron fans saying that the Lakers are going to win it all this season and that LeBron James is going to get his fifth NBA championship this season. I'm going to be the first one to tell y'all, bruh. DeAndre Ayton on the Lakers is going to be a disaster. It's going to be very similar to when Dwight Howard joined the Lakers with Kobe Bryant and Steve Nash, where he was basically like a shell of himself. Like, even though he was still putting up numbers, like, they lost a lot of games, bro. You know what I'm saying? They lost a shit ton of games that they shouldn't have lost. Steve Nash ended up being washed. Dwight Howard, like I said, Dwight Howard and Kobe, they just didn't know how to play together. You know what I'm saying? But this is going to be worse than that, bro, because at least with Dwight Howard, he's a physical player. You feel me? This guy, DeAndre Ayton, he's a center that's 7 feet tall with a 7'5" wingspan that plays like he's a small forward. Let me explain why. This guy barely dunks the ball, right? Like, when you think of a big man, right? Especially a big man like DeAndre Ayton, who's athletic like that, right? A guy of his size, you would think that this guy would play physical, and he doesn't, bro. He plays soft, bro, especially when he goes up against physical players like Sabonis or Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid. You know, he folds under pressure, bro, to the point where, you know, I remember when he was on the Phoenix Suns, right? There was a play where this guy was standing out of bounds just watching Nikola Jokic repeatedly get rebounds. I think he got like 3 rebounds in a row, 3 offensive rebounds, and then scored the ball while he was just standing there looking at him. Like, he was scared, right? This guy, bro, like, he mostly shoots hook shots, right? He shoots a lot of mid-range shots. He barely gets to the free throw line, guys. This guy doesn't get to the free throw line more than 1 time per game. This isn't a player that's going to get offensive rebounds and then immediately try to dunk the ball. He doesn't dunk on nobody. That's not his game, bro. His game is doing a hook shot. He likes to shoot mid-range jumpers. And that's it. He barely dunks the ball, bro. He's not a physical player that's going to try to force a shot in the paint, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I guarantee you, bro, I give it 10 days. Give it 10 days with DeAndre Ayton on the Lakers, and all of the Lakers fans are going to turn on this guy. Everybody that's saying that this was the missing piece, right? Because let's be honest, right? When you think of last season, I think that the biggest problem with the Lakers was that they didn't have a true big man, right? Obviously, they got Jackson Hayes. And you know what's crazy? Jackson Hayes is a more physical player than DeAndre Ayton. And he's skinnier than DeAndre Ayton. Jackson Hayes will dunk on a nigga, bruh. Jackson Hayes will get an alley-hoop dunk. He can catch alley-hoop dunks, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's a very physical player. Now, DeAndre Ayton is definitely an upgrade from Jackson Hayes, right? DeAndre Ayton, he averaged about 14 points per game last year. I think Jackson Hayes only averaged like maybe 5 points per game last year. You know what I'm saying? But you got to remember, he averaged 6.8 points per game. Now, you guys got to remember, you already got a team with LeBron James and Luka Doncic. These guys are 2 ball-dominant players. We already know that most of the points are going to come from those 2 guys. So we don't know if DeAndre Ayton is even going to average 10 points per game next season. But I will say this, right? I got to be honest. I can't just shit on this guy. He averages more points per game than Jackson Hayes. He shoots over 50%. He has a 50% field goal percent. I think it's like 56, right? This guy's very efficient, right? DeAndre Ayton is very efficient, right? He has proven that he can be one of the best big men in the league. But I want y'all to think about this. This guy was on the Portland Trailblazers last year, and nobody talked about him the entire year. Like, nobody has talked about DeAndre Ayton since he was in the finals with Phoenix. And that was back in what, 2021? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was years ago, bro. And since he was on Phoenix, he went from averaging 18 points per game to 14. Now, that's not a huge drop off. He still gets you 10 rebounds per game, which is really good. And listen, if you're the Lakers, you had to sign DeAndre Ayton, right? Another good thing is this guy's only 26 years old, so he's young. This is a guy that can be your center, you know, for the next 3, 4, 5 years, right? The guy's still young, but he's not what you guys think he is what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like once he feels the pressure, once he goes up against a center that's very physical, bro, he's not gonna show up, bro. Like, put it this way. This guy's softer than Anthony Davis, bro. He may not get injured as much as Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis plays much more physical than Deandre Ayton. If you guys thought that Anthony Davis didn't play good against Nikola Jokic and Sabonis and Joel Embiid, wait till y'all see this nigga. This nigga, I'm telling you, bro, like, this guy literally runs away from the smoke, bro. He doesn't run towards it. He runs away from it, bro. If you go on YouTube right now and type in Deandre Ayton highlights, you will barely see any highlights with this man dunking the ball, bro. I'm telling you, he's a very awkward player, bro. Very awkward. Like, his style of play, it just doesn't equal winning championships. Because the minute that he goes up against a center that's more physical, they don't even have to be more skilled than him. All they got to do is just be more physical, and they're going to get the best of this guy, bruh. It's easy to make this guy uncomfortable. The best way for me to describe it is Deandre Ayton is basically Ben Simmons if he was a center. That's the best way for me to explain it to y'all. If Ben Simmons was a center, right, he would be Deandre Ayton. You understand what I'm saying? If Ben Simmons was 2 inches taller and he played center in the NBA, right? Just like how y'all saw him fold when he was on the 76ers against Atlanta when he didn't want to go to the free throw line. That's kind of what Deandre Ayton is, bruh. He runs away from the moment. He's not physical. You understand what I'm saying? He's just not that guy, bro. And this is going to be your guys' next scapegoat. You're not going to blame LeBron James, who's going to be 41 years old in December. You're not going to blame Luka Doncic because obviously Luka Doncic has already lost a shit ton of weight. He's coming into this season with a chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove everybody that he can stay in shape, he can lay off of the beers, and he can go back to the finals like he did with Dallas, right? So I'm expecting Luka Doncic to have the best season of his career this year on the Lakers. But I'm telling y'all, bruh, just like what y'all did with Russell Westbrook, just like what y'all did with Darvin Ham, just like what y'all did with D'Angelo Russell, this is what's going to happen with Deandre Ayton. Oh, and by the way, you guys lost Dorian Finney-Smith, who's one of the best 3-and-Ds in the league. The guy can play defense, he can knock down threes, and he can score in the paint. Dorian Finney-Smith is no longer on the Lakers, so who's going to fill that spot? Now, I'll say this. If I'm the Lakers, right, I would go sign Al Horford. Even though Al Horford is, I think he's like the oldest player. I think he's like one of the oldest players in the league. He's not older than LeBron. Let me see. How old is Al Horford, bro? I think he's 39. Is he 39 or 40? Al Horford, bro. Let me look it up real quick so I don't lie to y'all, man. I like to be honest, you know, with my family out there, you know what I'm saying? So Al Horford is 39, right? So I think he's the second oldest player in the NBA, right? Now, even though Al Horford is basically 40, he's going to be 40 next June, right? This guy still plays like, you know, he doesn't play like he's in his prime, but he's still very effective on the court, bro. He averaged 9 points per game last year. He averaged 6 rebounds per game last year. And this guy can shoot threes, right? He shot over 40% from the three last year, right? Even right now, Al Horford, bruh, I think if you put Al Horford at power forward in a starting lineup, and then you have LeBron James play at the 3, right? And then you put Luka at the 1, and you put Austin Reeves at the 2, I think that helps your team a lot, bro. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully they do that. I also think the Lakers should have Chris Paul come off the bench and play point guard, because that way you can take the pressure off of Luka Doncic. You understand what I'm saying? You could have somebody come in and play point guard, and Luka Doncic, who we all know he doesn't have the best stamina, that'll take less pressure off of Luka Doncic. You could even have a rotation where you have Chris Paul play point guard, and you can have Luka at the 2 and LeBron at the 3. You know what I'm saying? Chris Paul, even right now, is still one of the best facilitators in the NBA. Chris Paul already knows how to play with Deandre Ayton, right? Deandre Ayton's best years was on Phoenix when he was playing with Chris Paul. Let's be honest, right? So that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about this video. It's your boy Wavy. Thumbs up the video, subscribe, follow your boy, and most importantly, share the video to your mama. I'm out.